This is Dominic D'Angelo of WrestleZone.com, and I'm happy to have with me here today Jim Ross. Jim, thank you so much for taking the time out of your really busy schedule to join me today, man.
No problem. Glad to do it.
All right. So you have a live show coming up here this weekend, not only with AEW Dynamite in Huntsville, Alabama, Conrad Thompson's stomping grounds on February 5th. Tony Schiavone will be joining you guys right after the show, too. Talk about just being with Conrad in kind of his backyard, and what can fans expect from the live show going down?
A lot of laughs. We have a lot of laughs, a lot of stories. After we do our Wednesday night show here in Huntsville, that, of course, airs on TNT at 8, 7 Central, we will go to the Comedy Club there, and we'll do our little Q&A. The fans are just as involved as we are. We make it very casual, but very, I think, funny and honest. So between Conrad and Tony and myself, we have a lot of stories and enjoy the interaction with the fans. And then, of course, on Thursday, Conrad and I are flying to Dallas to connect to go to London. So we have a Q&A Grilling JR show in London on this Friday night. We have one Saturday afternoon in Manchester, and we have one Sunday afternoon in Glasgow before we fly back to London on Sunday night, and then stay there, and then going to get back to the States. Conrad will fly home. I'll fly to Austin.
Holy smokes. What are you doing in Austin?
A little show called TNT Dynamite.
Oh, there.
That's Thursday night.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. Man, how often do you get to go home to Oklahoma and stuff?
Well, this is a special long trip because I had the Super Bowl in. Tony Khan had me in Miami as his guest, and it was very nice. Great hospitality. So I left on Saturday, and I get back 13 days later. So this is a extraordinarily long trip for me, but none that we can't handle.
Heck yeah. Hey, you just staying with the grind, man. That's all you can do. I got to see you do a live show with Conrad in Jacksonville before Fight for the Fallen there. And I can speak from experience, too. And I saw you in New York City for the WrestleMania with you and the King at the Comedy Club there. And something that really stood out to me, as a kid, I would watch wrestling, but my parents were big Eagles fans. So you had the Eagles opening up for you during the show and stuff like that. So I'm a huge Eagles fan. What's some of your favorite songs, and have you got to see them live recently?
Recently, no. I haven't seen them live since Glenn Fry died.
Yeah.
But he's been an Oklahoma guy named Vince Gill has taken his spots. So we'll see how they do. I'm sure they're going to do great, but I haven't seen them since Glenn passed away. But I will. I mean, that's one of my... If they're coming to my area or somewhere I want to be, I'll always try to work it in. But all their classics, I've got all their songs downloaded on my Apple Music account, so they go with me wherever I go. And I just invested in a new Sony noise reducing headphones that I was not smart enough to operate, but I had some of our AEW guys help me out. So I'm all loaded up for my trip to the UK, and music wise, headphone wise, I'm almost into the modern age. Close. I'm getting closer.
I tell you, for me, it's a learning curve. I'm still getting used to the wireless headphones. The wireless headphones and all that stuff. It's it's always a wild thing. So no, I remember hearing Colin Cowherd before. White and Glenn Fry passed actually, and he made a very good point that the Eagles are almost the kind of music that you can listen to when you're doing something, and you're always up to something kind of when that's going on. Have you found yourself a lot of the times on the road listening to the Eagles, and do you relate it a lot to different experiences throughout your wrestling career too?
Yeah, pardon me. Their songs mean a lot. They hit me at different times in my life, different transitions, different poignant times, sad times, happy times. So their music has been a real solid thing. And my late wife Jan and I were both of us are big Eagles fans. She collected a lot of Eagles memorabilia, signed items, things of that nature. So, it's a real deal. And he's right, about being able to do anything with their music. You can, I've written parts of my book listening to the Eagles in the background. So it's just to me, it's kind of a therapy thing, maybe just psychological, but whatever it is, it works for me.
Yeah, right. I think musical is the most therapeutic thing you can really do a lot of the times. It can get you out of a state of mind, it can put you in a state of mind that you really want to be in. So yeah, no doubt about it. Something I like about your live shows too is the question and answer sessions and your storytelling sessions that you have with them. I remember in the Jacksonville, it's like I found it very like therapeutic to another way is that you don't suffer fools a lot of the times when it comes to some of the questions and everything like that. Some people ask kind of like your basic wrestling questions, but it's also kind of cool that you're just able to kind of get more of a wider basis for an understanding of maybe what some of the smarter fans are more in tune with the wrestling product, I guess. One of my favorite stories you did was the Leroy McGurk pants story that you had with Ted DiBiase, I believe it was part of the story that you had on with Conrad.
Yeah. Those are funny stories, and we share all that stuff we're doing here in Huntsville Wednesday night and what we do for Inside the Ropes, Kenny McIntosh's group this weekend over there in London, Manchester, and Glasgow. Will be comparable to that. You know, we take the way I work these stage shows is that we don't rehearse or have a set list, so we don't know what we're going to talk about because we're going to leave it completely up to the audience. My theory is if you're going to pay hard-earned money to come see us, we're going to do our damnedest to entertain you, and I'm not going to censor what you ask. So there's no questions off limits. Some are distasteful, and some of them I wouldn't ask, but I don't insult the audience about that's a stupid question. It's like saying somebody's opinion is wrong.
Yeah,
we see that a lot online now. You know, if somebody doesn't agree with me, then I'm wrong and I'm damned. And I just don't think that's not a good thing for our society to not respect everybody's opinion. And sometimes I make fun. Sometimes I try to seek the humor in a crazy question, but I don't disregard somebody's opinion.
No,
so, you know, I don't do that. But nonetheless, we're going to tell a lot of stories. And, you know, I was like everybody else. I'm still a fan. So I want the audience to understand that they can ask what they want. They can interact. Those shows are very freewheeling, but they do have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I think that's important for any storytelling.
Absolutely. And, you know, with a lot of that, just the dynamic that you guys share with Conrad and you share with Tony and even Jerry and stuff like that, just seeing the genuine excitement and kind of just love for not only the business, but just the people that you're with, it's a really rewarding experience as an audience member to see, too, I noticed. So,
well, I appreciate what they do. I'm an old-school guy, much to the chagrin of some younger fans, I believe, sometimes. But the bottom line is what we do is parlaying on various forms of human emotion: happiness, sadness, fear, jealousy, whatever the storyline takes us is what we do. And I'm a big believer in the storytelling, and I'm a big believer that fans want emotion. They want something that's real. They don't hear JR manufactured. I'm not a product of a studio or somebody's imagination. I'm real, for better or for worse, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, it's the way it is. But when you do live television and you do so many hours of it, and you know, we're still our broadcast team is still still coming together. I love what Tony and Excalibur brings to the table, and I love working with them. They're good guys. Most of all, I enjoy being around them, and you can't always say that. So I'm very blessed in that regard. But we have a lot of work to do to get as good as we need to be, and I don't know if that process really ever stops. It doesn't for me. I don't know if it's my ego or my insecurities as a performer, but I've never felt like I've called the best show I could call, and I still believe that my best work is yet to come.
And you know what I feel too? A lot of the times, if you have that kind of like, not apprehension, but like if you have any sort of insecurities or restlessness, that always helps because you're constantly wanting to be able to keep with the grind and you're still in the thick of things. So I feel like doing that is always a beneficial. I'm only like 34, but like just coming to that experience, I'm learning that a little bit late in life and just being able to know that and kind of know like, okay, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, but if I still have the confidence in myself and I know I can do this stuff, then doing all this it can be rewarding. And I'm sure you're very right in a lot of ways because a lot of times people are so critical online when it comes to certain things, and you're right because there's a lot of people like in social media who want to just like throw labels at people and put them on some sort of like category of whatever it is, you know, just categorize them. But in the grand scheme of things, everybody's in a gray area. And so building into that, I totally feel you, JR.
Yeah, it's just part of our society right now. I think, people can be very brave when they're sitting at their keyboard.
Sure.
And they can be very defiant because they're starving for attention in many situations. They're looking to be recognized. They're looking to be acknowledged in some shape, form, or fashion, even if they're taking a negative road to get that acknowledgement. I believe most of it is personally based. There's something that's not quite. I mean, how can you go into a tirade and a rant? And I've had people say, "Well, I hope you have another stroke."
Jeez.
Okay, so if you're thinking that way, and it's all spurned because of your passion, in your words, of pro wrestling, don't you think that might be something you want to consider addressing?
Right.
You're saying things that caustic and that real. The real. I didn't have a stroke, but I've had Bell's palsy 3 times. I'm sorry I can't smile, which leads some people to believe that I'm somebody said the other day I was the most miserable bastard on television. I said, I don't believe I am. But I got to thinking, they've never seen me smile. I have 2 granddaughters.
Mm-hmm.
They've never seen their grandpa smile. But they know what's in my heart. They know who I am, thank goodness. So I think there's a lot of that going on around, too. People make quick judgments, snap judgments. You know what? I've never seen JR smile. Why? He must be the most miserable son of a bitch in the world. I'm not. So
no.
But you deal with it. You learn to deal with it, because for every 1 or 2 idiots, there's 1,000 wonderful fans that have followed my career. They believe in me, and their trust and their confidence has helped me get through some very rocky times the last few years.
Absolutely. And, even being at the live show and kind of witnessing a lot of your meet and greets before the show starts, you can see a lot of those fans and their genuine excitement for you and what you're doing and what you've contributed to the business so far. It's, I think, too, with the commentary team, the way you guys have it, too, it's an excellent balance, because you and Tony have such great personalities for the wrestling business, obviously. And then Excalibur, he adds another layer to it that the chemistry you see is there. And you're right. And it's with any new show, it's going to take some time to get used to and to get a rhythm going. And I think you guys are just on the right track of things, for lack of a better word,
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a work in progress. And that's another thing about society. And we see it every day in marketing and so forth. 30 minutes is free. You can do this for time is always of the essence. Time is always in consideration. So people don't have patience. As a society, we compete for a lunch hour with you get a $5 lunch in 30 minutes or less or whatever. We're looking for those shortcuts because we have no patience. And I'm as bad as a lot of you. With a lack of patience and the fact that people have just enough knowledge that they think they can debate, successfully debate certain nuances of pro wrestling. Sometimes it's a little bit kind of makes you kind of chuckle.
Yeah.
It's like, this you don't learn this stuff overnight, and it's great that you're a student of the game, and it's great that you have an interest in it. But probably at this point in your fandom, you may not be as advanced as you think you are, or as you will be if you continue the study.
Absolutely, and it's always a learning experience too, no matter where you go and what you do. Absolutely. I wanted to get your thoughts too. You mentioned being at the Super Bowl and everything. How was that experience? What did you? And a lot of I really appreciate it too when you kind of give a background about a wrestler or talent that has a football background. Who in the business did you enjoy talking with football with the most? And I mean, from I think of names that you've been with, like Ernie Ladd and Dr. Death and Ron Simmons and all the West Texas football and Wahoo McDaniel. Is there anybody that you've really bonded with, especially over football, most in particular than anyone else?
He's a big football freak, as am I, and we're both in the Southwest, Texas, me from Oklahoma. We're great friends still to this day, and he and my wife Jan are two of the more significant characters, along with Vince, in my new book. But Steve's was a big time football fan, and we chat about football especially during the season. we're on once a week or so, just shooting a breeze, and never talking about the wacky wrestling business.
Yeah, right.
That's when you get at a certain age, you grow away from where wrestling is everything, and that's not healthy.
Yeah.
It's not healthy for anything to be everything. We all have to have a life to the best of our ability, and a happy life that brings us, happiness, joy. And so I think talking football, Steve and I, is exactly that. We both enjoy the talking about it and the debate and so forth. So, but I've been around. Bill Watts, my first big influence, and he played in the old AFL way back in the '60s, and he played football at Oklahoma University. So he was a football freak from the field, and so on a lot of our trips, our meetings, things where we had downtime, and then during football season, he would be a great conversationalist on most things, but certainly talking about football as well.
He's such a fascinating character in the wrestling business too, and from a promotional aspect and things like that. And I did not know that he was like in the AFL and anything like that. That's really interesting, actually.
He played semi-pro football, and then he got I think the very beginnings. It might have been the Houston Oilers or something, but nonetheless, he has some pro football experience. That's where he met. I think he met some guys. I can't remember who he told me he met. Maybe Wahoo.
Oh, really?
Wahoo, Wahoo were at University of Oklahoma together, but Wahoo, I think, is one of the commission to get in wrestling because Wahoo was making a lot more money wrestling than he was playing for the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah. I tell you what, too, I marked out when I first heard. I'm a Jets fan, so when I heard Wahoo McDaniel was a Jets player, I was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. So, yeah. Anything from the aspect of football? Since you're a big Sooners fan, what do you think's the ideal stop for like Jalen Hurts?
It's going to be interesting. I talked to my driver today about that here in Alabama. He's some people think he's going to be this guy. I thought he would be a free safety, or maybe the best on a tight end. I think he's going to go down swinging and try to be a quarterback. And with more teams running variations of an option, we saw Mahomes score on a little option turn up the field. And is he going to pitch it? Is he going to run it? He turned it up. He ran for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That option stuff is becoming more in vogue. And the one thing that Hurts can do is run. He's not as good a passer as Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield. That doesn't mean he's bad. He's just not. They were extraordinary. 2 Heisman Trophy winners.
Yeah.
But I think with the offenses that are being run now, that gives Jalen his best chance to make a team as a quarterback, probably as a backup, But he's the kind of guy, from my experience around him, he's the kind of guy that you want in your locker room. It's really important to have a chemistry in the locker room, no matter what kind it is. If it's any pro sport, pro wrestling, the locker room is a very unique place that as a promoter, a booker, administrator, you want to help perpetuate a special bond in the locker room where it's a really hallowed ground, shall we say, without being too melodramatic here. But that's the thing. And Jalen is the kind of guy that you'll never read about in the papers for beating up his baby's mama or having domestic issues or drug issues. So a team's going to get a good straight guy, meaning he's not going to deviate from the game plan. He's going to be at practice. He's going to work hard. He's going to do everything for the good of the team. And you want more guys like that. That's the same example when I brought in. I fought so hard to bring in Nick Foley. He was the kind of guy that we wanted to start stocking our locker room with, if we could, that had character and integrity and an overwhelming drive to be good at what they've been trying to be good at all their life. Patrick Mahomes said that he was, as a little boy, I remember saying, I wonder what it would be like to say I'm going to Disneyland after winning the Super Bowl. And he got to say that on Sunday night. So, it's pretty cool how those dreams come true. But I'm a big believer in that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And, I was so happy for Andy Reid, too, last night because he's just been working so hard. 21 seasons as a head coach, I think it is, and it's just like it finally paid off for him. And all the you hear about all the work that he's puts in and the extra time, and he doesn't brag about it. He doesn't say anything about it. He just does it and goes to work. And to see that kind of pay off for somebody like that he's puts in and the extra time, and he doesn't brag about it. He doesn't say anything about it. He just does it and goes to work. And to see that kind of pay off for somebody like that's been a professional and that's handles business the right way. It was really rewarding to see, I think, last night.
It was good to see.
No, I think football, you mentioned the team dynamic of the locker room, and I think that just speaks volumes in a lot of ways. Do you find that, have you kind of seen that tangibility and stuff like that in the AEW locker room?
Yeah, I think we have a healthy locker room being built. There's leaders there. There's young guys that want to be led, want to be taught, coached up. And you got veterans on your squad. We have several. We led by our champion, Chris Jericho. But we got a lot of leaders, I think. But we have some that are more prominent than others because of their standing and their accomplishments, their tenure, and so forth. How do you not respect and follow the lead of a Chris Jericho who's reinvented himself over and over again, always for the better, always leading to more success at a high level? So if you're a young guy and you're wanting to talk about being a wrestling villain or a fan favorite, whatever it may be, Chris Jericho is a great source of information for that. And then, you got guys there, the Young Bucks are great at working with the tag teams. And everybody thought the Young Bucks, I'm sure, was going to be they were going to be the team. Everybody else was going to circle around them. And it hasn't been that way, which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
Because it gives the Young Bucks something to shoot for. And, at the end of the day, you would like to think, well, at some point, they're probably as good a tag team as there is in the world, in my eyes. They'll be the champions. Well, I agree with that. I just don't know when it's going to be, and I kind of like it that way.
Yeah, it's the thrill of the chase. Like, Dusty Rhodes, that's why he, would do it all the time. He would always be chasing for the title. And I think that's a great aspect of storytelling in a lot of ways. I think it goes back to what you were saying of people wanting that immediacy or they're impatient with stuff. Just let things develop a little bit and see where it goes,
I saw with Conrad Thompson, I've been doing these podcasts, Growing JR, which I want to thank everybody for listening to our show. A new show drops every Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday morning early, and we're having a blast doing it. We're really building some great momentum. We've got several advertisers that are been very supportive. But I find that when they talk about a thing, let's say we have a match we're focusing on, the angle started in WWE in August of SummerSlam, and then they rotated all the way back around to the Royal Rumble. So you got 5 months to tell a story. And Conrad and I were talking, I don't know that fans of today's market would deal with that 5-month story, a 5-month story, because you kind of want it over in 2 or 3 weeks, or 2 or 3 Mondays, or 2 or 3 Fridays. It's a different mindset, but I believe, whereas some fans will never catch up to a 5-month cycle of storytelling for one major issue, I get that. But it's a sad thing because that's how you invest emotionally in characters, and that's how they become big stars. And part of that is how they're booked. You can't book somebody 50-50. They win one week, they lose the next. That's silly. And nobody merits some of that. And so and the way you get talent over is you get guys on a roll.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing about our team. We got the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, Cody. They can all get on a roll. They can have great matches with anybody, and some people even with most teams they can have great matches, and some teams they can have matches that are absolutely extraordinary. So we got the right chemistry, I think. We have a blend of youth, a lot of youth on AEW's roster. I feel like it's kind of like working for an expansion football team back in the NFL or something. We got some veterans that have been to the big game. We got some veterans that have played in an all-star game. But we've got a lot of young guys that are still figuring out their way and what they do best and what they shouldn't be doing at all, and those things. So to me, it's refreshing every week to come to work because I get asked a million questions, which I embrace. I got kids there that I'm starting to really get close with, and it's a process because the thing about it is that where I was at WWE, I would see these talents all the time because I was there at TV on Mondays, Tuesdays, pay-per-views, and here we're together one day a week.
Yeah.
It's just more challenging to recognize personality traits and get to know these people as they should in a genuine way in a few-hour period once a week. So it's like having visitation rights, you know. And by the time your visitation rights are over, you don't know a hell of a lot more than you did when you started.
Right. It's true. And something I really like about the balance of AEW is how you guys handle like legendary talent or legacy talent. I think you guys tip the cap to them very well. Like you guys have talents like it was that Memphis, the tribute to Memphis you had like Dave Brown on there doing commentary, and then even like DDP coming in and having a match there. And it's just like you don't embarrass them or use them as fodder for younger talent, which can be helpful in certain ways, but if you do it, you got to do it the right way, and I feel you guys handle it the right way in many aspects of things. So I think that, and having that talent, that older talent, interact with the younger talent in that form and fashion it's going to build that younger talent up and just make, I think, it much more engaging of a product, and like something a fan that I grew up in like the early 90s, late 90s, and seeing that is really rewarding too. It pays off.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's just a very complex business that some talents are so good, they make it look easy. And so when you see a match that just doesn't live up to your own expectations, then, you know, sometimes the blame gets passed around to the wrong places. So, but in any event, I'm having a lot of fun with these kids. You know, sometimes the blame gets passed around to the wrong places. So, but in any event, I'm having a lot of fun with these kids. You know, Darby Allin's got a great future. I think he reminds me of a very young Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
I love Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I think he's got an unlimited upside. He kind of reminds me of a early 20-something-year-old Kevin Von Erich.
Oh wow, yeah.
I like him a lot. I think I mentioned on the air that Sammy Guevara is a little Eddie Guerrero-ish. Great personality. You know, he's never going to beat anybody with his size. He's going to beat him with his technique and his skill set and the speed and so forth. So we're just continue to keep trying to get these guys over. Look, a lot of these kids, before they got on TNT on Wednesday nights, they were seen in some very minor little arenas. A lot of them.
Yeah.
And none of them on national TV of any significance. So it's new to all of us in a lot of ways. We have a new TV crew, we have new cameramen, we have, everything's new. So our best days obviously would be ahead of us because that's just the nature of the beast. But, if you and I have this conversation a year from now, I hope that we'll be able to talk about all the great things that we've seen develop and how some of these talents have taken ownership of their own in-ring personality and persona. We don't have any writers. So it's between the powers that be, the EVPs, and Tony Khan, who's always going to be, by the way, respectful to the legends, because that's the kind of fan he is. A very real, devout, sincere fan of wrestling. And and that's one of the things I love about working there, because there's the respect factor is off the charts from his eyes. So I love that, and so we're, for his sake and his family's money that they're investing in this. We want to help build a strong brand, and we're off to a good start. But for anybody to think these Wednesday night wars, which is comical, is a big deal, there's no war. When you have people, when you have friends, family, that have lost their lives in war or been named in a war, I just think it's bad. It's just it worked in 1999 or 2000, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, right.
It worked in the Attitude Era. This is 2020, and I don't know that we need to be, underscoring the term war. It's competition for sure, but it's competition for the TV time, the TV dollar, the ad dollar, the whole 9 yards. So I don't believe that, because look, we have to be realistic about things. The more that AEW devotes more time they devote on WWE and what they're doing, we're wasting time on our own product. If we're thinking about them, we ain't thinking about us.
Yeah.
And I don't care what the ratings do. It's irrelevant to me what the ratings do. That's a good soundbite. I don't care because we can't. All we can do is go out and work our ass off and promote and provide a great product, or as best as we are being produced to do. That's what we have to worry about, not the other stuff. So I believe this: if we spend all of our time working on how to get us better and improve our team, and not worry about anybody else's team, because we can't change or affect it.
Right. You can't.
Too many of us worry about things that we have absolutely no control over. So it's off the ratings. Okay, we'll get on Thursday. We'll get a number of the viewership. You want to win, of course. You want to do well, but we'll get that on Thursday, so you can celebrate. Because by the time that we're back to our next production meeting on Tuesday, before our Wednesday show, we're on to something else.
Right.
So you can't live or die with a good rating or a bad rating, because you got no time. You got no time to grieve. You got no time to celebrate. It's just time to go to work.
It's time to do, and you know what? Yeah, it's just a matter of keeping it going. And yeah, there's so many, and you're not the only person to say, wrestling mind to say this, JR. It's like anybody I interview when I bring up AEW and NXT or whatever, they say you can't focus as it being a war. Like if you're paying too much attention to the other product and worrying what they're doing and reacting to that, that's not good storytelling in the first place. It just doesn't help it. Just doesn't help it. And listen, I don't want. I got so steamed when people were giving you shit for calling Jungle Boy Jack Perry, because it makes total sense. It makes total sense to call him that. So I don't want to hear anybody give you shit for that.
Jack doesn't mind, because he can't be Jungle Boy when he's 35 or 40.
Right.
It's an insult to our audience that we're still calling him Jungle Boy when he gets older. Right now, it's fine.
Yeah.
But look at the big picture, and to get his name out there and establish his name identity as Jungle Boy Jack Perry, I think is a good deal. Plus, it doesn't hurt to pay some tribute to his father, who really wanted his son to do what he's doing right now. And the late Luke Perry was a pop culture icon. And so I'm not saying they're going to ride Luke Perry's coattails for Jack. No, but to ignore that their father and son is bad storytelling.
Yes. 100% agree, JR. 100%. It's and you know what? Just seeing those talents like that and interacting with him. I just did a little Scrum interview with him once, and just seeing his personality stuff. He's got star power, like main event star power coming up. And I feel like him, and like you mentioned, guys like Sammy Guevara, they all come from these different areas. Sammy from Texas and all that stuff. I feel it's a new wave of star power coming in, and people just got to be patient with it.
Yeah, but look, it's fun. We have a blast on Wednesday nights, and then, of course, like I said, this week is especially loaded up, because we got our show here, our TV show. Then, as we've been talking about, then afterwards, we're going to do our comedy thing and with Conrad and Tony. So that'll be a good time. And that's after the show. People have questions about the show that they saw, questions about our company, anybody's company. It doesn't matter. But it's just fun stuff. It's a bunch of wrestling fans getting together at my shows with Conrad or anybody else. You've seen them, so you know.
Yes.
It's a sanctuary. Nobody gets criticized for being a wrestling fan.
No.
Nobody gets made fun of because you're a fan of the business. That's not how we play it. That's not how we roll. Because we're all fans of the business, and we all love it. And so, and I got no problem with that. Gosh, at 68 years old on the road and hammering it out here, getting after it, if I didn't love the business, I couldn't do it.
Right.
So and look, I mispronounce a name here and there. I know I do. The funny part is, like last week when I introduced MJF, I called him Matthew.
I think I've noticed that. I picked up on that, but that's no big deal. I feel it's.
No, but I did it on purpose.
Oh, did you?
I want to piss him off. He's a wise ass, smart ass heel. He needs to be humbled a little bit in a way that he could understand.
I got you.
You're so famous. I messed up your name. Sorry. That's not. We didn't go into that much dialogue, but that was the drift of it. He didn't know I was going to do it. because I wanted to see what his natural reaction was going to be when I called him by the wrong name.
You're right.
He was spot on, perfect. Max is a great talent. He's going to be a big star for us in JF. So that was why I did that. But sometimes, we got three voices out there, and I'm trying to not be the point guy all the time, and that's hard to not do. You'll change. Sometimes we change roles during a course of a program, and that's a little daunting at times. So, but that doesn't mean that we can't get better or we're not going to get better. Like I said, I'll put our work, our broadcast work, up against any broadcast team in the business right now, bar none excluded.
I agree with you, JR. And you know what? It's fun to see that development happening so much. As a fan and just as like a writer for the business too, it's just amazing. I'll let you go with some of this. I'm a huge Western fan. I just finished Deadwood, the series and the movie. And aren't you a friend of W. Earl Brown, the guy that plays Doherty?
Yeah, absolutely. We're buddies.
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you talk about that series a little bit, and just like your thoughts on the movie too, how it all tied up at the end there, if you saw the movie?
I did not see the movie yet, to be honest with you.
Oh.
I've got all the episodes downloaded, so I watched them on the road. Deadwood. Well, Deadwood is one of the most intriguing stories and presentations that I've ever seen, and it has a lot of qualities of a pro wrestling territory. You have baby faces and you have heels, but the baby faces aren't really all baby faces.
No,
they have imperfections. And whereas Al Swearingen, the owner of the Gym Saloon and the entrepreneur of town, and he has his whores and his whiskey business and all this other stuff, he has a soft heart too. So you see that occasionally.
You do.
So, yes, good characters. It's based, in fact, of Deadwood, South Dakota, when it was a territory, not a state yet, and wide open. The gold, there were gold in them Dar Hills, and a lot of people from all over the world came there to get them some of it. So it's an episodically produced thing. The characters are beautifully developed, and you have conflicts. It's like pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is best when I know why these two individuals, let's say, are competing. Why are they fighting? What's the reason for this altercation? Who are these people? Why should I care about them? So that's what Deadwood does. It does everything that a pro wrestling promotion should try to do. That's get me to understand who are these guys and why should I support them or not. So, but it's on HBO on demand or whatever, or you can download on Apple, whatever the case. But if you're looking for a show that is episodically done, they'll keep you hooked. It's a 1 hour show. Deadwood's a real good source for historic Western and how it really was. The corruption, the political corruption. Nobody gets impeached, so it's safe from that.
Yeah.
So it's really good. I'm a big fan of it. And Earl's who played Al Swearingen's bodyguard. One of the great fight scenes.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Earl, the big, the captain, they called him.
Yes.
They had one of the most. They had a brawl in a thoroughfare that would be like Terry Funk fighting Bruiser Brody.
Oh, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Holy smokes! No, when I saw that and what happens in it, I was a little bit scarred after that for about the next day or so, to say the least. It was holy smokes! What a yeah! Oh my gosh! I love the Shakespearean tone it takes, where you really have to pay attention to the dialogue, but it's laced with curse words as well. So it's a very nice balance. Very nice. Have you seen the show Justified by chance on FX with Seth Bullock as Raylan Givens?
I did not.
Oh, I recommend that if you get the chance. It's by Elmore Leonard, and it's a Western tone in Kentucky, in current-day Kentucky. It's a really great show, and a lot of wrestling aspects in that, too. Like, Raylan Givens, like the ultimate baby face. So if you get the chance to see that, I recommend it. It's on DVD on demand now, so I think you can watch it on Amazon if you have that. But
I'll check it out.
Check it out.
Always looking for something new.
Yes. And speaking of which, I like John Wayne. I know very little about his movies. The only one I'm familiar with is because I'm a huge Dean Martin fan, is Rio Bravo. So I'm curious. I wanted to get your input. What John Wayne westerns, or just even regular movies, should I add to my queue to check out here coming up?
Well, my favorite John Wayne movie is not a western.
Oh.
Ironically, it's A Quiet Man.
Yeah.
And he and Maureen O'Hara played the Quiet Man with an amazing cast. They put in Ward Bond and some huge Victor McLaughlin. It's a story of American fighter John Wayne who kills a guy in the ring, and he's not charged with murder. It broke his heart and his spirit. So he left the States and went back to his native country of Ireland, where his family originated from. And he meets a girl, and it just goes from there. But it's really a wonderful movie. There's families, whatever. I mean, it's great. It's my all-time favorite movie. I was there in Ireland 2 years ago and I went to the village where they filmed it. And the village, they kept it exactly like it was back in 1950, 52, whatever it was. So it's really cool. The westerns, there's comedy westerns that are really entertaining, like McClintock.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. That's a good movie.
You tweeted about that today too, didn't you?
What's that?
You tweeted about that one today too, didn't you?
I might have.
I think you did, because somebody was like, "Name that movie," and you're like, "McClintock."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. All those Rio Bravo, El Dorado, Big Jake, they're formulaic. Remember, Wayne was the baby face.
Yes.
And either he or John Ford or John Huston or the Bookers.
Yeah.
So they booked their baby face to find himself in jeopardy, to get against these seemingly insurmountable odds, but somehow, realistically, through this courage and resourcefulness, et cetera, he prevails at the end. You know, the most traumatic John Wayne movie is called The Cowboys. And The Cowboys is a movie where John Wayne actually is killed in. Getting shot in the back by Bruce Dern. And Bruce Dern said that did not do his career any favors. So, because people didn't like him anymore. But even though it was a movie and it was fiction, he was so good at killing John Wayne, and they were so moved by it that a lot of people were pissed off at Bruce Dern for a long time. So, anyway, that's another great one. I'm a fan of the formulaic situation. You know, it's like trying to talk Steve Austin out of turning heel. That's my new book. I talk a lot about that. And you know, by the way, that's Under the Black Hat's going to be out in end of March before WrestleMania, and so it'll be hopefully it'll be out there in front of everybody. But this is the best thing I've ever done. I'm more excited about the potential of Under the Black Hat because it covers the Attitude Era, it covers the XFL, the original XFL. It covers me getting sick, getting taken off TV, and all these crazy storylines I got involved in to entertain the bosses, and those are told. But maybe the most poignant stuff, and Steve Austin is a big part of this book because it goes through his rise and his leaving, and then it talks about, of course, my wife Jan and how she was so important she was when I was sick and when I was going through these issues at work and having some problems physically, how she was there, and then of course her death in March of 2017. So it all ties back into the story of the wrestling business and how some of these things affected me and how I handled them, good or bad. Some I handled really well, and some not so good.
That's all part of life too, you know. It's like the good and the bad, and you just do it the best you can. So
get up, get knocked down. There's only one thing to do: just get up.
Exactly, and just keep grinding. Yeah, I think you're doing a great job at it too, JR. It's like, you do a really good job at it. So, last thing, what's the best vodka to have for a Moscow Mule? Is it Tito's? I know that's Conrad's choice, but I got to make sure.
I'm a Tito's guy.
Yeah.
But sometimes I like to diversify and have a Grey Goose pear.
Oh.
A pear mule.
Oh.
Grey Goose pear. It's really good, and it's a good diversion for a regular mule drinker like me, but it's certainly usually appreciated by the ladies.
Ooh.
It's more flavorful, maybe, but it's, Grey Goose pear vodka in the Moscow Mule mix. So I've always drank responsibly, kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Mule mix. So I've always drank responsibly, kids.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I'm going to add this all to my list to do. I'm going to watch some John Wayne movies, drink some Grey Goose pear, and just make the most of it. You know.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Good,
Yeah. But JR, thanks so much for taking the time with me today. I appreciate you. We even went a little bit over, so I appreciate you sticking around with me, man. You've been one of my white whales to interview, so I was like, oh, I want to talk to JR about John Wayne. I want to talk to him about all this stuff. So I finally got to do it. So
I find you notice how all my analogies compare things right back to wrestling.
Absolutely, it's great for me because then I can transcribe it and put it on the website too for WrestleZone. So it works out well. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
I appreciate your time, and hope you have a great night. Thanks
Hey.
very much for